I recently came across an Arabic cartoon on social media that referred to the real estate deal that President Trump suggested for Gaza when he hosted the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. The cartoon image depicted a Palestinian as the owner of the Gaza Strip. The buyer was Israel, the seller was the USA, and the funder was a Gulf Arab. And this jarring image, with its even more jarring message, is of course untrue, at least for now. But it does indicate how the Arab peoples region wide see the latest antic of the current disruptor in chief who resides at the White House in Washington, D.C. So today, I'd like to fingerprint ever so briefly in this YouTube 5 reasons why the transactional proposal, the deal, or the acquisition, if you prefer, by Trump to help his friend Netanyahu is illegal and that there are likely to be overwhelming roadblocks to it. One, it focuses on Palestinian roots. Trump ignores Palestinians' deep attachment to their land. After the Gaza ceasefire, 500,000 displaced people have already rushed back north, despite the formidable odds. Two, pan-Arab opposition. Contrary to Trump's assertions, Arab states have firmly rejected the plan. Equally importantly, public opinion in Arab states is also quasi-unanimously hostile to the proposal. Three, fatigue intervention. Trump denies that his proposal might well involve sending US troops into Gaza. If true, I do not really think that European or Arab countries are willing to become the patrolling army or agents for a White House real estate deal. Besides, would any such deployment not be an immediate reversal of a key campaign promise by Trump not to embroil Washington in foreign wars? Four, and the most important for me here is public international law. With an intervention in Gaza, Trump would tear up international law, itself an inheritance of the post-war international order that until recently Washington had championed, in rhetoric at least. In fact, underlining the illegal ramification of Trump's proposal, the UN reiterated that international law strictly prohibits any expulsion of people from an occupied territory. A legal addendum by me here that forced displacement or ethnic cleansing are both war crimes or crimes against humanity under international law. And five, Israeli caution. While Netanyahu and his supporters have appeared emboldened, even gleeful, by Trump's declarations, I'd opine that Israel's wider political class have appeared a tad more cautious as they eye the parliamentary Knesset elections, possibly in a year's time. But my 5 reasons, much as they convince me not to touch this poisoned chalice, might not deter the new White House team that is also supported by many Christian evangelicals in the USA who think that supporting Israel unquestioningly is what the Old Testament, not the New Testament, mind you, as their God somehow predates Jesus Christ, demands of them. They will pour in the dollars to pay for this deal, and they will support Trump, their new demigod, who has come to earth for the purpose of saving America and redeeming Israel by heralding the second coming. So, in the face of such populism, who or what can be done to save Gaza from this doomsday? This is where the date of 27 February 2025 kicks in. I hope I'm not overstretching my point by saying that this fateful date, a Thursday incidentally, is when the Arab League summit takes place in Egypt. How will the participants tackle this huge problem of a Gaza deal? Will they just talk as has been their wont for decades, or will they also walk the talk? Will Saudi Arabia and its crown prince bare their teeth, metaphorically speaking, by utilizing their financial clout, or will they suddenly become coy? After all, Israel suggests sending Gaza Palestinians to the kingdom for resettlement too. Besides, will Egypt, scared of a resurgent Islamism on its territory if the Gaza Palestinians are transferred to the Sinai, push back? Or will it whimper because it is financially beholden to the USA due to the annual aid America provides to an ailing Egyptian economy? Could Egypt, as one analyst questioned recently, could Egypt ever reclaim its old place at the vanguard of the Arab world? Or will it content itself with words and optics alone? And what about Jordan? How will it react when Gaza Palestinians and ultimately West Bank Palestinians, because that is the Israeli settlers' real intent, are pushed to the east bank of the River Jordan? After all, if they end up in Jordan, the demographic realities of the country will alter, and the kingdom could end up no longer being Hashemite. I'm sure that King Abdullah II of Jordan will discuss these points very clearly with President Trump at the White House today. Thursday, 27th February. So can the Arab summit respond to the Trump deal by seizing the advantage and refurbishing their own Arab peace initiative between Israel, Palestine, and the Arab world that was adopted as far back as the Beirut summit in 2002 and then recycled many times? Can they tell the White House that they're willing to take charge of the Gaza Strip and its reconstruction too, so long as Israel agrees to a peace deal with Palestine? Or will they talk and forget the walk? In which case, there will certainly be an exodus from Gaza and the West Bank, as many Palestinians will, alas, find themselves caught, you've guessed it, between a rock and a hard place, between Charybdis and Scylla. What is at stake is not a demolition site. Rather, what is at stake is the Israeli long-standing plan to get rid of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, in East Jerusalem, and in the West Bank by transferring them to other countries. Or failing that, creating Palestinian enclaves in their own occupied lands surrounded by illegal settlements. In other words, the owner of the land becomes its tenant and the illegal settlers their landlords. What will the Arab world do? What will we in Europe do? Remember the Arabic cartoon image I referred to at the start of this short episode? A Palestinian owner of the Gaza Strip, with the buyer being Israel, the seller the USA, and the funder a Gulf Arab? How dehumanizing, how demeaning, but also how illegal. So let me remind viewers of a word of caution by George Orwell in his dystopian novel entitled 1984, written in 1949. Erase a people's past and you control their future. Sobering stuff, don't you think? So welcome to the new world order in the Middle East. Is it the end of the beginning or the beginning of the end? In Gaza, across the broader Palestinian territories? Tell me, frankly, where do the temporal lines cross today?